Dogs coming on a blitz. A nice pickup. Green gets rid of it and caught on the deflection. Put 6 on the board, Knight fans. That is a touchdown.
And it is caught by number 20, Malik Williams. And he breaks free. He's going. One man to beat. It's a touchdown.
And good evening, everyone. Welcome to the all-new sports show. I'm Wes Bradshaw. Joining me tonight, Edward Green. As always, folks, joining us from the Rocky Mountain Telegram, sports editor Jesse Nunnery. Folks, it is the all-new sports show brought to you each and every week by Roger G. Taylor & Associates. As well, folks, our other sponsors you will see scrolling at the bottom of your screen tonight as the show goes on. And, gentlemen, it is a great week. Why? It is the final week of previews for high school football on Friday night. We finally get to see people hit each other with real bad intentions.
It's like Christmas Eve. It's just so great, so many questions, so much narrative we're going to get to tonight, especially within Nash County. We've been building it up over the last 2 weeks with our previews of Wilson and Edgecombe, and it's just going to be so much fun. I can't wait to get out to Tarboro this Friday night.
And folks, like we said, joining us, you see him sitting to my left, Jesse H. Nunnery, sports editor, Rocky Mountain Telegram. Jesse, thanks so much for taking some time out of your day to come sit with us.
No problem. Always a pleasure being here, and I'm ready to get busy too.
Awesome.
And Jesse, just a quick talk about the Rocky Mountain Telegram. You're blooding in some new guys this year, man. Usually you'd have your little buddies here, Petrovich and Height. We had to get rid of them, folks.
Yeah.
Didn't want to talk enough soccer. That's it. But real quick, want to tell us who some of the new faces we're going to see for the program?
You guys are going to see Andrew Ivins. He's probably a year and a half out of school from Florida Atlantic. He's a Florida native. Really into high school football and recruiting, so I think he's going to add a little twist to what we do. And then Josh Wallfish, he is a Northwestern grad.
Great.
So probably too smart for all of us. But I get to be the boss of a Northwestern grad who just graduated and is also into high school sports and doing whatever he can to add to our paper.
All right. So, folks, some new, fresh faces around the Rocky Mountain Telegram this year, but it's still going to be the same great coverage that you've always received from them. So, hey, get your telegrams out each and every day of the week. They're still working on some previews this week, finishing up things before Friday, so definitely check those guys out. Ed, put us over.
Sure. If you want to get our previews, if you've missed any of our shows or any of our preview interviews so far the last 2 weeks, or if you want to rewatch tonight's, you can, of course, go to our YouTube page, youtube.com/The All New Sports Show. Our other social media links include Twitter, which is Twitter @All New Sports Show. If you want to hit us on Facebook, facebook.com/All New Sports Show. If you want to email us, allnewsportsshow@gmail.com. Check out our Instagram feed, which I'm sure will be getting much more love as we start the season. Pictures from the games will be fun. And you can hit that at instagram.com/allnewsportsshow. Finally, if you want to mail us your letters and your parcels, please, again, no live animals. Got to deal with that this week. You can go 1701 Sunset Avenue, Suite 201, Rocky Mountain, North Carolina, 27804. And you'll see a lot of those scrolling across with our great sponsors tonight.
All right. Well, folks, with all that said and out of the way, let's jump into Nash County football, folks. As Ed said, the last 2 weeks, we have previewed Edgecombe County, week 1. Had a great preview there. And now, last week, Paul Durham in here, we previewed Wilson County. And now, kind of the bedrock of the all-new sports show.
Yes.
You know, the very first letter in new sports show is N. N stands for Nash. Let's jump into Nash County. Now, we have done a couple of Nash County teams already, Rocky Mount Academy, Rocky Mount Prep. But these are your 4 Big East teams. These are your big boys in town. And we're going to start out. We're going to go a little out of town. And we're going to talk about a team that may be the most consistent team in the area over the last decade, Brian Foster's Southern Nash Firebirds. And Ed, taking a look, just to start off, Southern Nash, 23 returning lettermen, only 3 on offense, only 3 on defense, a 9-4 team a year ago. And, Jesse, I think the biggest word out of Southern Nash is injury.
That's correct.
They have been absolutely hammered by injuries the last few years. Last year just showed really the level of depth that program had, that they were actually able to put together a 9-win season with literally almost everyone but the water boy being dead at some time or another.
Yeah, I don't even think they wanted the water boy to carry the water because they thought he was going to get injured. But, yeah, that's a team last year that you would have loved to have seen finish out full strength, or at least even 75% of the strength that they started with. But to finish 9-4, it kind of tells you just what kind of program they have. I was talking with Coach Foster just a couple days ago, and he was mentioning that it helps that these kids, some of them start in middle school running the same offense and defense,
right.
being coached by some of the same guys from their second semester, 8th grade through the senior year. And I think that kind of helped them at least kind of stay the course last year. But again, that team was probably better than what they got out of it. And
Well,
you just chalk it up to an unlucky year.
Yeah, and you take a look at their year, 9-4. They start off with 6 straight wins, including a huge 24-23 win at Tarboro that we were at last year, and it was just a phenomenal game. Then they go 2-3 in conference, getting wins against Northern Nash by 1 and Nash Central by 21, which was, I believe, though, at one point 21-0 Nash Central, and was one of the surprising games of that day. But, you know, you lose big to Rocky Mount. You lost by 10 to Himes. And like you said, this was a team, though, that we thought could challenge Hunt for that conference title. Who are we looking at coming back this year that can help them maybe take the title this year?
Yeah, I think it's going to be in their running backs. They're one of those teams that you watch, and they have 3 or 4 interchangeable guys. I know, I think Mike Portillo is one of them. Clinton Whitaker is one. I talked to a kid at the Jamboree, Clinton Jones, I believe, or Grant Jones, I'm sorry, running names together. Grant Jones, he got hurt, I want to say, in the first game last year after he had run for 100 yards.
Yes, in the first half.
Yeah. So he looked pretty good out there in the Jamboree, the Nash County Jamboree the other day. And I think if you put those 3 guys together with an offensive line that I'm sure we'll get to that's a lot different than it has been, you at least have something to start with.
Now, the players, you know, we told Lou what they got coming back, but what they lost. Deion Lavender. I mean, that was a 3.5-year starter at quarterback. Richard Hall, who I think was he was our offensive player of the year for the all-new sports show Big 22 last year. He was our offensive player of the year, the best all-around player in the area, without a doubt. That offensive line, that at times could be mistaken for a Division I offensive line. They were huge. Something in the water at Southern Nash, they're huge. Just a ton. They were really deep, especially of seniors last year. That was a big senior class that they lost. So this is a team that has some rebuilding to do. We'll get back to them in just a moment. But Ed, you had the chance to go out, talk with Coach Brian Foster, one of our good buddies on the show. We love Coach Foster. And you had a chance to do that. So
yeah, I headed out to Bailey, and I talked to him about the upcoming season. And I did actually mention that injury bug that you guys have talked to about. And he has a very surprising injury that has already taken place to one of his key guys that will be keeping him out till about conference play. But we're going to let Coach Brian Foster over at Southern Nash tell you more about that. All right, guys, now we're out here on the campus of Southern Nash. As customary, we are in the offices here with the nice overlook of the grounds here at Southern Nash, Coach Brian Foster. And as you were telling me earlier, this is actually, there's a man going on. I don't know if you can see him behind us. This is the 3rd time you guys have cut this field today.
Yeah, we had a little bad luck with reel mowers and rotary mowers, and got a little behind with our grass cutting, so we're trying to catch up today.
Well, obviously, you guys had a great year last year, 8-4 overall. Looking to build on that this year with some great players, but one is unfortunately already out for at least half the season.
Yeah, Jaquay Mitchell, running back, had some bad luck. Lacerated kidney falling on the ball during the 7-on-7 competition, so he'll be out till at least the middle of September.
Well, one guy you will have back, one guy we're really excited to see him on both sides of the ball, Taj Deans. Talk a little bit about him just as a junior.
Well, he has plenty of athletic ability, and he's plenty capable. It's just a matter of, if it's going to come together for him, he's going to push himself in the right direction, and, I've had every indication that he will. So.
Give us a little bit of an overview then over the rest of your team. This is a team that has always got a lot of numbers, but did lose a lot over last year's team, including last year's quarterback, Deion Lavender.
Well, if you look back at our offense, our whole tight end, the tight end's gone, our quarterback's gone, our fullback's gone. So, we're replacing a lot of kids, and then you go defensive. I think we're replacing 8 of the 11. So, we have the mentality of next man up, but that's a lot of next men. So, I mean, we just have to see what happens, and, the kids been working hard, and, hopefully that'll result in some wins.
Well, that was one of the key themes last year for you guys was next man up with so many injuries. What is it? How is the culture here at Southern Nash? There's always so many guys, and them just coming next man up. How do you permeate that through the team?
Well, that's getting a little old.
That's true.
We don't want to have to go through that again, and shouldn't have to go through that again. It's just one of those things. You expect some injuries, but at the same position repeatedly is just something that just killed us. I think we have a lot of consistency in the coaching staff and what our kids do here, and same offense, same defense. So from that standpoint, I think that helps the next man up. But we would much rather have kids healthy. So.
We'll talk about then some of the other guys that you're looking to come up through the ranks this year to fill in some of those spots, especially on the offensive line.
But, I really don't want to single out anybody. I want to go into these first few practices and give everybody a fair shake at it. And we got some JV kids coming up that had good years last year, and hopefully they can step in and fill some shoes. But we lost some big, strong kids that were really good athletes.
You guys do have a culture here, though. You're talking about that JV team and even in the middle school organization of these kids coming up and knowing the program, really. How big of an advantage is that for you guys?
Well, I think from a standpoint of, like what we went through last year, it's a huge advantage. It's hard to go into something and not have a prior knowledge of it. And I think that's helped us tremendously as far as, the kids understanding what we want offensively, defensively, and it's been consistent over the last 18 years.
You guys have had, unfortunately, a lot of injuries, and hopefully that luck will turn around some this year. But one of the things is, and whether that's just from bad luck or just the game itself, one thing that has been a talk everywhere is limiting hits and trying to keep kids safer. Do you have any thoughts on that and just how that could impact the high school game?
We tried to do that last year. It was just unfortunate. Grant Jones' first game planted his leg just perfect, and just had the perfect hit. Right. I've talked to doctors, talked to strength and conditioning coaches about things we could do, and it's just when you watch film, it's just one of those situations that if you get in the right position body wise, it's going to happen. So we're trying to just keep working and avoid some of those hits in practice and see what happens.
Well, hopefully those are avoided this season. Right now we're going to want to take a look at 3 of your big games coming up this year, 1 non-conference and 2 conference games. I think the non-conference game, it was easily one of our games of the year last year that we did over in Tarboro, and now the Tarboro Vikings are coming here to Southern Nash. Talk about what kind of game that is and just 2 big programs in our area clashing like that.
I think there's a lot of football before we play Southwest. Before we play Tarboro. Open up with Southwest, who I think is going to have a really strong team. And, our first 3 games are on the road. Yes. Each team, it's their first home game. So, we got some big challenges. But, the Tarboro game would be a fun game. I'm sure they want to come in here and repay us for what we did last year. And Coach Craddock and I are good friends and have joked about it. But, whatever happens when the game's over, we'll walk across the field and shake hands and get ready for the next year.
Oh, that's great. And 2 more conference games we want to talk about. Obviously, one of the big turning point games for each team, I think, last year was the game against Rocky Mount. And now, again, you're going to have them here back at this place. So just think about Rocky Mount against Southern Nash.
Rocky Mount's just hard to match up with athletically. In the skill positions, they give us a hard time. They spread the field. And Jason does a good job with the guys. So, we'll do what we can and try to stay around at the end and see what happens.
And I think what could be one of the most fun games this year, Fike versus Southern Nash. Fike seems like they're going to be a lot of people's picks to take this conference. How is that game going to go, do you think?
Well, they got some good skilled people back, and they should be picked to win the conference. But I think people have seen in past years you don't go by picks. Any team in this conference is plenty capable, and that's from top to bottom.
Talk about how, just before we end up here, how the conference being so strong either helps or hurts your team as you try to make a run to the playoffs.
If you can get through our conference, you can beat anybody. And I think that's been proven since the 90s. It's not just the last 4 or 5 year kind of deal. It's been for the last 20 years. This conference is a tough conference. If you can manage to get through it and get in the playoffs, you're really not going to play a better team. And, that makes you feel like you got a chance no matter what.
Well, as we finish up here, as you mentioned, your first game is against Southwest Edgecombe, a very tight game. We've already talked to Jonathan Cobb. He's really excited about it. Tell us a little bit about your thoughts going into game one.
You know, they got a lot of returners back, and you know, at skill positions and line, and you know, we'll have our hands full for sure.
All right, well, Coach Foster, best of luck this
Thank you very
year.
much.
Hopefully the injury bug does not catch you guys like it has in the past, and you guys get through this unscathed.
Thank you.
All right, no problem. And now we are going to kick it back to the studio.
Ed, great interview. Always fun to talk to Coach Brian
It
Foster.
is always fun to go back to that same room in the coach's office and have the nice overlook of the field there. It's very nice.
That's quite nice. Jesse, taking a look at what Southern does have coming in this year. Like we said, huge loss, Dion Lavender. You know, you figure you lose a guy who's been your quarterback that long. You want someone you're familiar with. Well, could Brian Foster get much more familiar with his quarterback?
No, his firstborn, you know, Zach Foster is going to be the quarterback this year. And talking with both of them about it, Coach Foster says, you know, he sees his dad, you know, either hurting as far as, you know, losing a game or the team struggling. You know, you want to help your father out. But he doesn't want his son to have that much pressure, so he just wants him to play. And he says a lot of times he plays better when he's not coaching him, when somebody else is instructing him. But if he comes over, you know, he might tense up and, you know, can't take a snap. So we'll see how that goes. But he said he loves him either way, which most
that's
good
good to
dads,
hear.
most
Good to
good
hear.
dads would
All
say.
Will be interesting, though, Ed, you know, because suddenly it may not be the way on the sideline where there is any sort of tension or there is any sort of, well, he's my boy, I'm watching out for him. But at the same time, Zach Foster's going to have a lot of pressure on him from the outside because fans in the stands, all they're going to see is, oh, well, he's the coach's kid, you know. So if something doesn't go right, where normally you'd say, well, you know, just give the kid some reps, they're going to look at it and say, well, it's coach's kid, that's why he's playing. Not saying it will happen, that is something that can happen. You know, how is Zach Foster going to handle that pressure?
Well, I think he's got to be mentally tough. And I think you just have to realize that we know Coach Foster. We know he's not going to put his kid out there as the starting quarterback unless he feels like he's the best option available. And that's what Zach needs to remember. He needs to remember that his dad isn't going to put him out there if he doesn't think he can do the job. So he just needs to block out the fans, which is what every player should do. Just block out the fans, don't worry about what they're saying, and just concentrate on making the right read every time. And to be fair, also, I don't know if he's going to be called upon to do a whole lot in the Southern Nash offense. You guys both know.
I mean, they're not going back to the spread this year?
Blasphemy, I know. But I feel like they're going to be relying on a lot of their good running backs, you know, even though Coach Foster talked about the injuries they're having already. But they still have a good stable of running backs there.
Jesse, another kid, one who stuck out to me last year, Kendall Parker. Not a really big kid, 5'11", 180 pounds. Plays a little linebacker, plays a little safety for him. He kind of seems to be the linchpin of that defense, especially coming back. You know, defensively on that side of the ball, only 3 starters. He's a big one. What do you think we're going to see defensively from the Firebirds?
I think you're going to see a lot of inexperience, but kids that have done it on the JV level. And it's really just going to be a key of adjusting the speed of play, adjusting to being the guy and not being the backup. Kendall, he's going to play a huge part because when you've lost some of the linemen that they lost, like Alante Thomas and those guys, it's going to make – he's going to stand out even more this year. But they've got the people. It's just they haven't done it on Friday night. They're used to doing it on Thursday nights.
And that's really going to be the key is, you know, how do those guys respond? And if they do have injuries again, where is that extra depth going to come from? We know Southern Nash really good at bringing up guys from the JV. They always have. That's one thing Coach Foster always tells me. You know, we have so many guys coming out here, JV and varsity, but where's that experience going to come from?
Well, and that's a great thing on one hand because you look at some of our other programs in the area. I mean, North Edge Keith Pearson might be carrying 22 guys this year on his varsity roster, and actually that might include his JV kids as well. You know, for Brian Foster, it's always funny. They always say, yeah, we got over 100 kids in the program. And that's just our JV team. So, you know, he always has that well to be able to go to. He really saw it last year with the injuries. But what it does, it gives you options. You know, if one kid, if you bring him up, if he's not working out, I can go somewhere else and try something different. And that's why they always seem to have that depth. Now it's just going to be guys having to step up. and make plays. All right, so let's take a quick look as we finish up here for Southern Nash. Non-conference schedule, folks. I'll be telling you the non-conference. Ed will tell you the conference schedule. Here we go. August 22nd at Southwest Edgecombe. Jesse Buttery Telegram will be at that game, no doubt about it. August 29th at Beddingfield. September 5th at Bunn. So first 3 on the road. Those young Firebirds have to grow up, especially against what should be good Southwest and Beddingfield teams, and from what we hear, a good Bunn team.
Yeah, absolutely.
September 12th, they open their home season against Roanoke Rapids. All we really know about Roanoke Rapids at this point, apparently they are breaking in a new coach. So that might be their best shot early in non-conference. And then an early open date, September 19th, they've got their open date. And then they go to Aden-Grifton, a very good 1A team. And then after that...
Speaking of really good 1A teams.
Yeah, speaking of good 1A teams, October 3rd, home against Tarboro. Last year, like you said, at Tarboro, we did that game. We saw an absolute barn burner. They got the win last year. This year, they welcomed Tarboro down to Firebird country. And then, folks, when we say they jump right into conference play, home to... Well, I'm so sorry. I was about to jump ahead myself. Woo! I'm so excited about the schedule. Ed, tell them about that conference schedule.
October 10th, they go right from hosting Tarboro to hosting Fike in what's going to be a big game for both teams to try and win the conference already. Then at Northern Nash, that was a game that was decided by 1 point last year. Then home for Hunt, always a fun game between those two teams. Then home for Rocky Mount on October 31st before finishing at Nash Central. This is an absolute gauntlet of a schedule. The one good thing is you get Fike, Hunt, and Rocky Mount at home to take away nothing from Northern and Nash Central. But if you had to pick 3 home games, those are probably the 3 you'd want.
I would say so. I would say those are the 3 I want to bring out there. But just the way everything falls in line.
To have 7 straight games to end the season.
And an early bye week, woo. Firebirds might have bit off a lot this year.
Yeah, they did.
Personally, I think you're going to see a step back from Southern this year. I think if they can pull out a 500 record, I think you're going to say it's a good season down at Southern Nash. I just see this as a step back year. But for Southern Nash, their program, I don't see them being down and out for long at all. All right, folks, that will conclude our Southern Nash portion of the show. So, gentlemen, let's head on over, and now let's go to the Capstone School here in the county. God, people are going to hate me for that so bad.
They already do.
Yeah,
They already do hate me for
please
this.
hate him for that, not me.
They blame Jesse for it, but it's really me, folks. Of course, my alma mater, Rocky Mount High School. The Griffons coming back. They are coming off an 8-4 season, 3-2 in conference. And they bring back some guys this year. 19 returning lettermen, 7 offensive starters, 4 defensive starters. They're still listed in here, offensive formation as a wing T, but I think you're starting to see a lot more multiple formation things from Rocky Mount. I think you're going to see some spread this year from the Griffons. Man, go figure, Rocky Mount can run. Jeez, there's a shock. Rocky Mount is fast, and they're going to have to be fast this year. A tough Big East Conference, another tough schedule preseason. So let's talk about Rocky Mount. To me, it all starts around Rashawn Harris and Broderick Caudle.
Yeah, those are 2 good guys to start with. Can probably play at. I know they can play at the next level. Probably just depends where. This season will play a big factor in that. But those guys, they did it last year. They really did. And now, if they can take it to another, maybe elite level, that could be a win or 2 more for the Griffons this year, in my opinion.
Well, you were talking about the different kinds of offenses they're going to run. I think the big component of that is the new quarterback who took over midway through last year, Josh Carter. Right. I think him being a much more dynamic player, and it's nothing against the quarterback from last year, J.T. Smith, but he is very dynamic. He can escape pressure. He can run. He can run the option. And he's a really good passer, too, from everything we saw last year. With a whole half year of seasoning under his belt, he comes in as just a junior. So he's still and that was something when I talked with their head coach, Jason Battle. I remember. I got you, Coach. He was really impressed with, in the summer practices, how his read progression was coming along. And that's something that's going to be key for them. Because if they can mix it up well, you talked about their speed. They are very fast. But if they can mix it up, that's something that maybe only Fike can really match in terms of offensive power in the Big East.
I agree with you. The big thing about Fike we talked about were returning offensive players who return at your skill positions. Rocky Mount's the same way. Carter, you basically say you're returning your starting quarterback at this point. He's started enough games. He knows the deal. He's going to be fine with that. Harris, Caudle, they're wide receivers, but also they're wing backs in that offense that Rocky Mount will run sometimes on you. Bakembe Kearney was the off-troubled wide receiver for the Griffons. He was their top wide receiver a year ago. The kid's a great ball player. He just keeps his head on right. He's a good ball player. You got Sherrod Green, 6'1", 200-pounder in the backfield. He's your fullback. That kid, he's a tough in-between-the-tackles runner. And then what's scary about Rocky Mount, they've got size this year. This is a good-sized Rocky Mount team. Baseball Britt Johnson, one of our good friends of the show here, obvious Rocky Mount alum. Just in case for some reason you folks didn't know, Britt Johnson's a Rocky Mount guy. Crazy, I know. About a week or two ago, USA Today was down in town and actually ran a story on Rocky Mount. Jason Jordan, former Rocky Mount guy, went to school a couple years ahead of me. Real big on the preps with USA Today. They did some video out there, put it on the website on USA Today. Britt Johnson called me and said, "Wow, Rocky Mount is big. Where's this size been lately?" Then Britt was actually down this past week, was able to see some at the Jamboree. And I'll just say, Britt Johnson has some optimism for at least the size and the physicality of that Rocky Mount team. So, Jason Battle, I believe this is we're in year three on Jason Battle. The big thing that had left Rocky Mount in between B.W. Holt and Jason Battle coming in was the physicality. Rocky Mount has always somewhat been known as a finesse football team, but those great Rocky Mount teams, and Jesse, you saw them, those teams would punch you in the mouth all day long. They were very physical. After B.W. Holt left, the physicality fell off, the weight room work fell off, and now it's taken Jason Battle a couple years to get it back. But I think you're finally going to see a Rocky Mount team that's going to punch you in the mouth again. Yeah,
I agree. I was actually there before the second day, I want to say, of that they were allowed to hit, and Coach Battle came out, and among the many things he said before practice was, you guys, there's a lot of you out here that could be Heisman Trophy winners if we're playing two-hand touch. But now it's time to hit people.
That's right.
And, that was kind of a message, not just for that day, but for this year, that, we have the athletes, we have the kids here. I'm here for 3 years now. Let's go out there and play some real football.
Ed, taking a look, we said 7 returning starters on offense, only 4 on the defensive side. That could be, is Rocky Mount going to have to outscore people this year?
Well, they're going to have to, I think. And this was a team that, when they struggled last year, they struggled on both ends. We look at their loss against Hunt in conference, 48-31, because they couldn't stop Hunt on defense. Against Fike, they give up 37 points, and they can only score 13. So this is a team that's obviously going to have to improve on its defensive effort. Yes, they were able to hold Nash Central to 3 points. Yes, they were able to hold Northern at the end of the season when they were tired.
Not to be mean, but last year holding Nash Central to 3 points wasn't
yes,
exactly.
And that's my point. And then holding Northern, a depleted Northern at the end of last year, a tired Northern to 7 points. The one good defensive effort they had was against Southern Nash, and that was when they held them to 14.
And didn't we just talk about the injuries of Southern Nash last year?
Exactly. And the other key thing I'm looking at is first year under Jason Battle, 8-3, 3-2 in conference, first-round playoff loss. Second year, 8-4, 3-2 in conference, first-round playoff loss to Orange. When does Jason Battle and this team take the next step? He has done great things for this program, but I think the bar has been raised now. And I think that this is a year where we need to see them make that leap in getting to the second round of the playoffs, at least.
I agree. And you had a chance to go out and talk to Jason Battle.
I did. I asked him about this.
Our first interview of the year.
Yes, he was the quickest respondee.
Dang, all right. All right, well, hey, we said Rocky Mountain was fast.
Yeah, exactly.
Your coach was fast, too.
Yep.
All right, Ed, introduce it then.
Yeah, I talked with Coach Jason Battle out at Rocky Mountain High School about many different things, and later on in the interview, he actually discusses what it was like when he was playing at Rocky Mount and getting ready for playoff games under B.W. Holt, and the kind of atmosphere he wants to bring to help those guys make the second round of the playoffs. So let's go out to Rocky Mount High School for the interview with Jason Battle. All right, guys, now out here at the campus of Rocky Mount High School, third-year coach Jason Battle. We interviewed you your first year, then your second. Now it's your third year at the helm of the Griffons football team. Coach Battle, summer practices going on right now, getting the kids ready. You and I just talked a lot of seniors in the skill positions on your team this year.
Yeah, we actually only graduated two skilled kids last year, quarterback J.T. Smith and one of our running backs, Joseph Cooper. And the rest of our skilled kids are back this year.
Well, it's a team that last year went 8-4, 3-2 in conference play, had a first-round loss to Orange. But this is 2 straight years of going to the playoffs after 2 sub-500 years for the program. What's it been like re-injecting some of that Griffon energy back into the program here?
Well, it's been good. It's been difficult, but the kids have really embraced what we're trying to do now, and now it's just it's a moment of progress now. Now we've got to really make a staple this year, hopefully.
Well, one of those guys looking to make a staple, one of those seniors, Josh Carter. He's someone who came in to the quarterback position about midway through last year and really looked to provide a spark for your guys. I remember that big win you guys had against Southern Nash, I believe 30-14, right in the middle of conference play. That really seemed to turn things around a little bit for you guys.
Right.
Talk about what he's bringing and how he's maybe maturing as he goes into this season.
Well, Josh Carter, right now, we're looking for, hopefully he'll be our starter. The issues with Josh was just making sure that he was ready to become a leader. And, thus far this summer, he's really grasped that concept that he's got to take on a leadership role as well as trying to, really understand what we're doing. And, thus far, I'm very pleased with his progress.
Now, we saw him a little bit last year. What were some of the things on the field you wanted to see him work on besides his leadership? As far as is he reading routes better? Is he making better decisions? What are some of the things you've seen since he took the job last year and now through summer practices?
Well, just his attention to detail. Last year, I think he just kind of just winged it a little bit. Kind of learning as you go. But this year, thus far, he's really trying to understand and pay attention to detail to, be able to direct those other 10 guys that's on the field.
One of the things, who are some of those other guys that he's going to be leading this year? Who are some of the guys that have stepped up so far in the summer? Maybe some guys you didn't expect to step up so far?
Well, offensively, of course, we still bring back Broderick Carter. We bring back Rashawn Harris. The backfield, Malik Lewis, he'll be back. And, thus far, a guy like Nick Bonham, he'll be coming up from the JV team. And, we're looking for him to really, spread his wings this year as a Griffon and get going. And also B.J. Sanders. He's going to be he's sophomore running back, so he's going to probably need a lot more guidance.
Obviously, these guys are going to get a lot of reps, probably in the non-conference schedule, which I was just looking today. It looks very, very tough this year. You guys are really getting challenged. The most brutal part might be a 3-game road stretch where you take on J.H. Rose, a rivalry game against Southwest Edgecombe, and then Triton. 3 straight on the road. What's that going to be like for you guys? What are you looking to get out from them at that point?
Well, with our schedule, we've talked about it. We weren't able to get the balance that we needed in our schedule. So, we've got 7 road games, and we're gonna have to become some road warriors this year, and learn how to win the tough game on the road. I think it'll be a little bit easier for us, when we're able to get back home. It'll be a relief. But if we can make it through that stretch, because in the stretch you're talking about, it's actually a 5-game stretch.
It's true. It's going to conference play, yeah.
So it's not going to be easy, but I think if we can come out of that, we're definitely battle tested.
Well, then talk a little bit about your conference schedule. Obviously, you've been through it before as a player, and now you've gone through it twice as a coach. What are your thoughts going up against those other 5 Big East teams?
Well, there's not a week that you can take off. Of course, we always push our kids, but in some conferences there are some weaker teams, but in our conference, I think it's so much parity across the board that it's super competitive every Friday night. And sometimes it may be, one team may not be as talented as the other, but every game is a rivalry game anyway. So, that adds a different aspect.
You know, you've taken this program with some great strides from where it was in the previous years before you took over 2 years ago. 2 first-round exits in the playoffs the last 2 years, 2 tough opponents, but you guys acquitted yourselves well. What's it going to take, though, for this team to get over that hump and win a playoff game and go deep?
Well, again, it all goes back to the work of the players. As I stress all the time with every class, it's really about senior leadership. And this year more so than ever, because this group of seniors, I've actually had an opportunity to coach these kids since they were in the 9th grade as their JV head coach. So they really have to take the bull by the horns and want to go further than what they've been so far. They've gotten over that hump of winning conference games and being able to get to the playoffs, but not really understanding what it takes to win a playoff game. So this year it could be a great year. Could be a great one.
What do you think it takes to win a playoff game? You've been in those wars. What can you draw on as when you were a player to tell those guys?
Well, it's a much different atmosphere than a regular season game, because everything's on the line. And for us, the thing that we have to get better at is preparation to going into the week of a playoff game. We haven't had the practice intensity that we need for those playoff weeks, and I think this year this group will be able to get it.
Well, Coach, best of luck to you. Hopefully you get a chance to work on that playoff intensity in practice this year, and hopefully we'll see you guys win a couple ones this year.
I hope so. Hope you see us win a lot of them.
Absolutely. We'll be checking you out a lot this year, and we'll hope to keep in touch with you as the season goes on.
All right, thank you.
All right, but for now, let's throw it back to the studio.
Folks, we're back. Ed, great interview once again. Jason Battle. I just do want to throw one little thing at you because, I'm picky and because,
I made an error.
I was on those football
Fine,
teams
yeah,
back in the day.
you're right. I made a mistake.
B.W. Holt,
Sorry.
of course, not
Yeah.
myself or Jason's high school football coach. That, of course, was Ray Durham, the
Yeah.
venerable Ray Durham.
Yeah, my bad, guys.
Great coach.
It's live television.
Jason, of course, coached with B.W. Holt and got a lot of
Yes.
those deep playoff runs with him.
Yes.
So you weren't too far off,
Yes.
Ed.
I knew there was a relation there.
It's okay. I'll beat you with a stick later. Anyway, all right. Taking a look at it coming back.
Yes.
Ed, I've got to call one every year.
Yeah.
To me, I think Rocky Mountain's my dark horse this year.
0-11.
Well, hey, now look, my dark horse was pretty daggone good last year.
That's
I'm
true.
actually getting pretty good on the dark horse now.
That is true. You're right.
Last year, I called Fike, and what I thought was Fike, I thought it was a team that offensively was gelling. Offensively, they were really coming together, had some good players, maybe a little under the radar. I think this year, Rocky Mount's a little under the radar. I think there is so much hype on the 2 Wilson schools, with very due cause, by the way. I still think Fike is your best team in the conference. I think a lot of people, myself included, think 2, 3, 4. I think in there, 2, 3, 4, 5, I think you could go anywhere. Rocky Mount, Southern Nash, Northern Nash, Hunt. I'm picking Rocky Mount as my number 2 this year.
All right.
I think, they're going to edge Hunt out for that second spot. I think it's going to be some great football played in there. Taking a look at them, depth is going to be a big thing for the Griffons. Only 19 returning lettermen. Jesse, what's the Telegram's take on the Griffons coming up this year?
I think probably anywhere from 2 to 3. Not ready to make a prediction quite yet, but I think they're going to constantly improve. I don't see them dropping off. I don't see them winning the conference either. But if that puts me on the fence, then I guess I'm right on the fence. But it's the higher side of the fence.
You Rocky Mount hater, you. Golly.
That would be the first time I've ever been called a Rocky Mount hater.
I can see it took one to say
Yeah.
it to you. Right? All right, well, folks, real quick, let's take a look at Rocky Mountain's non-conference schedule. It's challenging. They open up August 22nd, South Granville coming to Rocky Mountain. Then a trip on August 29th to Oxford to take on J.F. Webb. September 5th, a home game against Hertford County. And then September 12th, what will probably be the benchmark game of the non-conference, a trip down to J.H. Rose to take on what should be a very good Rampants team this fall. That has always, for the last decade since going out of 4A ball, that has been that benchmark game. Jesse, I know you've seen a lot of them. That's always the one where, man, we're having a good season. All right, now we're going to play Rose and let's see where we really are. Then a trip to Southwest Edgecombe and to Triton. Triton on the schedule this year. That's an interesting one. And I believe we were told this is going to be the last year of Rocky Mount Southwest for a while.
I believe we were. We were imparted of that information. So hopefully that'll continue in the future. But for right now, to get out there on the September 19th, this will be your last chance to see that for a little while.
Last chance to see that rivalry for a while at Triton the 26th. Open date on the 3rd. Ed, take it away.
And the march of road games continues on. It's a 5 road game stretch for them that continues into conference play after the open date. October 10th at Nash Central, October 17th at Hunt. You want to talk about benchmark games?
I think that's their big one.
That's their big one. That's going to determine where they finish in conference, I think. Then you immediately come home for Fike. Then you immediately go back on the road for Southern Nash. It's going to be a tough stretch. And then obviously November 7th ending at home in the rivalry game against Northern Nash. It's a tough schedule.
November 7th is going to be a heck of a night.
Yeah.
Because you could get, I think that's your 4 best teams in the conference.
That's a playoff berth on the line.
They're going head up, playoff berth on the line, maybe a home playoff game somewhere on the line for a couple of those teams. And obviously the conference title probably up for grabs that night. I think Rocky Mount Northern Nash could be incredibly physical this year. Of course, Randy Raper is doing that also. Northern Nash, making them a physical football team. We'll talk about them a little later. But I love good physical football. Yeah, I like to see my scores, but I like to see some helmets crack and see some pads just get after it. So that's one I'm really looking forward to, Northern Nash, November 7th. All right, so Rocky Mount is in the books. The Capstone. Jesse Nunnery made me say
Don't
that.
mind
I
him.
promise.
Don't mind
I promise, folks, he made me say that. All right, that is going to conclude part 1 of tonight's show. We're going to go to intermission.
Yes.
I'm calling intermission.
All right, that's fine.
I know what we do. Folks, this is the All New Sports Show brought to you each and every week by Roger G. Taylor and Associates. We are going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, 2 more previews to do. We have Nash Central waiting on deck, and then we're going to end the show tonight with the Knights of Northern Nash, Randy Raper's Northern Nash Knights. But, folks, of course, before we get any more previews, the most exciting minute of your week is on the way, coming back from commercial. Folks, we'll be right back here on WHIG TV with more of the All New Sports Show.
The new place is perfect, or at least it will be, with a little help from Dex. In the book or at DexKnows.com. Dex can help you get results fast and deliver the best local advice so you can get it done right here, right now.
We should do this more often.
Dex, results for the here and now.
Good day, Eastern Carolina. It's Mike Keffer at Mike Keffer on the 301 bypass between Rocky Mount and Wilson. How do you roll? The summer clearance event continues on all new Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram trucks. As part of the Keffer Automotive Group, we offer dealer group volume pricing without driving to the big city. Large selection, easy purchase experience, extended service hours, and fast oil changes are a few of the reasons to shop in Rocky Mount. Call 855-BUY-KEFFER or shop online 24/7 at MikeKeffer.com.
And folks, and welcome everyone back to tonight's edition of the All New Sports Show brought to you by Roger G. Taylor and Associates here on WHIG TV. It is week 3 of our high school football previews. The final week, this is Nash County week. Edward Green, Jesse H. Nunnery from the Rocky Mount Telegram joining us tonight. Folks, tonight already we've previewed Southern Nash, we previewed Rocky Mount. If you missed them, they will be up on our YouTube page this week. We'll give you the YouTube channel at the end of the show as well, in case you missed it earlier. 2 more to go. Nash Central could be an exciting year for the Bulldogs. And, of course, the Northern Nash Knights going to round out our high school previews. But, Ed, hark, through yon window breaks.
Is that Rebecca Luai here?
Did the window break?
Might have, actually.
Dez, is there a homeless? Oh, never mind. Okay.
We should probably get
that's just you, Dez. All right. Folks, it is time for your most exciting minute of the week. It's time for 60 seconds of soccer! Oh, Brendan, seeing you just makes my loins gird.
Punch! You gotta win.
And I saw our little Nick Petrovich.
Yeah.
Wolf down there.
Farewell, sweet prince.
Miss you, my favorite ginger.
All right.
Ed, put a minute on the clock.
Minutes on the clock.
You going first?
All right. Yes. Big week. The Barclays Premier League has kicked off in ever so dramatic fashion. Of course, Tottenham Hotspur getting a big 1-0 win in a London derby this week. That was a lot of fun to watch. Of course, debutants of the Premier League, Leicester, equalizing against Everton late 2-2. Very fun. And, of course, always fun to start the season. Swansea and Gylfi Sigurdsson, big win over Manchester United at Old Trafford 2-1.
Always nice to see the Man U scum lose their first match of the year. But, folks, where was all the action? Where were the eyes of England? They were on Merseyside. Liverpool coming off of the offseason where they have sold the talisman. They sold Luis Suarez. Well, folks, never forget the SAS strikes from everywhere. This year's SAS, Sterling and Sturridge, a 2-1 win over Southampton, which, of course, we may have bought a quarter of their first team, but those guys played great. Liverpool back to their flying ways. Jesse Nunnery, anything to add?
Nope.
All righty. It's just been another week of 60 Seconds of Soccer.
Play the intro, Des.
The team who came back from the dead.
And let's get back to the world of high school football previews. Previews. And we're going to go to a team now. Nash Central.
Yep.
The Bulldogs. Kevin Crudup back for another season at the helm. First, let's talk about the good for Nash Central. They return 18 starters.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the bad for Nash Central. That was off an 0-11 team from a season ago.
Yeah.
Okay. So quickly, you see the good, you see the bad. You bring back some experience. Ms. Experience has no real winning experience. But I think we're going to see a lot of improvement this year in Nash Central. Let's start with Hashun Gaines, tight end, defensive end, 6'4", 225. Runs a low 4s, about a 4.7. He has gotten a lot of Division I offers.
Yes.
Good thing there's a kid you build around year one.
Yeah, definitely. He was wearing Florida Gator socks for any Florida fans who might be watching the show. Supposedly that's one of his top schools.
I don't like you no more.
Florida, Miami, they all love him. They all love him. But, yeah, he's going to be somebody that's also not only going to make plays, but he's going to take attention that's supposed to be, on him. And it's going to go to somebody else who's going to be able to make some plays on the other end. That's right. Defense really wasn't a problem last year.
No,
it really wasn't.
Defense is the only thing that kept them in it last year.
I mean, I don't know how much you want to go down the defensive road, but really it's that other side of the ball that's going to have to get it done and not only just improve, it's going to have to improve a lot. I mean, you can't improve from 6 points to 9 points.
Right.
And that's not going to help, especially with their schedule and all the stuff I'm sure going to go down the road on.
No, you're right. Shut out 4 times last year, only twice against Fike and against Southern Nash were they able to break double digits in scoring points. You mentioned it wasn't the defense. The defense a lot of times kept them in the games. And, yeah, you see some big point totals given up, but those were at the end of games, and those would be at times where you're getting the ball on your own 20-yard line and you have an interception and they run it back to the 5. Well, the defense shouldn't be held that responsible for only giving up 5 yards to score a touchdown. And that's, I think, something we saw a lot of, even against Tarboro last year, when it was 21-0 at the start of the season. That defense was very good, but they just turned the ball over deep within their own territory, and that would be it. And there was a time, I distinctly remember, Tarboro throwing an interception inside their own 20 and Central not being able to score.
Yeah.
That was the season.
Well, and another thing, those numbers also don't reflect pick sixes, fumbles returned for touchdowns, things like that. So even then, yes, the Central defense very good a year ago, and I think they're going to be even better this year. That is going to be your bread and butter.
Yeah.
So now if you're Nash Central, if you can find a way to score 17, 18, 19, 20 points a game, suddenly now you might be able to change some things around.
Yeah.
You might be able to really do some stuff. They do have a new offensive coordinator in Jeremy Jones, who has been at Nash Central before, was on the lost my original coach. Grantham, that's right, was on the Grantham staff. Very, very big on the triple option, has been the head coach at South Creek last few years, has very good experiences from the area as a Northern Nash graduate. He and I, we've talked some back and forth. He is excited about his offense. He feels, he's got some guys who can make plays. But you say right now they still have not settled on a quarterback.
Right.
But he said it isn't because either of them have been that bad that they just can't decide which one they want to go down with. He said both of them have shown good things. Both of them have shown some bad things. And they just, need a little more time to decide what they want to do. But Jeremy told me that their goal is for 4 yards per play every game. The other night in the Jamboree, they averaged 3.8.
That's really close.
Exactly. So they are getting maybe close to where they want to be. So for Nash Central, that's a big thing because defensively they're going to be good. If their offense can just give them some help, those defensive numbers are really going to improve because suddenly, you're not having to start 10 yards out of the end zone every time. And also maybe you're not on the field the entire time.
And that was the big thing. There was just so many 3-and-outs last year, too.
I mean, I believe we sat there. We did a couple of Nash Central games last year. There was one game, the only first down they got came off a penalty. Came off a face mask on a sack.
Yes.
So it was a negative play to start with, but then it turned into a first down off a penalty. That has got to change. And you go from there. So you're going to be in that pro-I triple option. They're going to do a few different things offensively. But they have if they can find a way to put some points on the board, they're going to really be in ball games. Now, here's their other problem. That schedule gives them no breaks.
No.
We're going to go down the whole thing, but just to highlight a few, you open at Tarboro. That might be their best chance really early in the year to do something. As obviously we think Tarboro is obviously going to be the big dog of their conference, but that's a Tarboro team having to break in basically an entirely new offense, mostly a new defense. So there's a chance there for you to do a few things. But then Kinston, Rose, a home game against Hertford County, that should be a winnable game. At Beddingfield, at Hillside, you're doing yourself no real favors there. That's a tough schedule. And then, of course, your conference schedule.
Yeah, you go
schedule's not gonna be easy.
home against Rocky Mount, and then you go back-to-back road games against Fike and Northern. Hunt and Southern Nash both at home to end the season, but Hunt and Southern Nash are also going to be really, really good. The one key thing at Northern Nash, actually the site of Nash Central's last win.
There you go.
So just throwing that out there. 15 straight losses so far at Northern Nash, October 24th.
Folks, I had a chance to head out and have a chat with head coach Kevin Crudup of the Nash Central Bulldogs. Good talk. He met us outside of the Dog Pound one morning. We sat down, chatted, and now we're going to take you out to that interview. And folks, at this time we welcome you to the Doghouse, home of the Nash Central Bulldogs. We're joined by Nash Central head coach Kevin Crudup. Nash Central coming off an 0-11 season, 0-5 in conference play. But coach, as the sun is shining today, we always say, hey guys, the sun will come out tomorrow. The sun is out. A new season is upon us. Real quick, what can we look for from Nash Central for this year?
Well, we'll be a lot better this year. Last year we played a lot of sophomores, and they took their growing lumps last year, their growing pains, and they weren't quite ready for the physical nature of varsity, but we really didn't have a choice but to play those young guys on varsity, and they all coming back next year. This year, they're stronger, they're bigger, they're faster, and I think they're a little bit more hungrier too. So,
and coach, one thing for you guys that hasn't changed, I don't know what you might have been thinking when you made this schedule a few years ago, but man, you're taking these guys on a death march this season. Another tough schedule for you guys.
Well, it is a tough schedule. It's a 2-year contract that we always sign, and I was telling some of my colleagues up at the coaching clinic because they said the same thing, and I'm like, well, it's funny. 3 years ago, when we was coming off our 8-3 season and we was making this schedule, no one wanted to play us. We called everywhere, and we kept getting turned down. Like, no, we don't want to play you guys. You guys are too good. Well, we've started our schedule for next season, the next 2 years, and guess what? I have no problems finding teams this year because we didn't win a game last year, so they like, well, they must be down. And, I'm thinking, well, you guys are sadly mistaken because we're going to be back and we're going to be stronger than ever. But, the schedule is a tough schedule, but, it's teams that we should be able to compete against. I mean, it's not talent that we are incapable of matching on the field. Our guys just got to become ready to play, be prepared to play, and it prepares us for conference too, our conference play.
And Coach, when we start with talent, you have one of the most talented kids in the area, in our Tri-County area that we got. A kid holding multiple Division I scholarship offers already, Hashawn Gaines. You've got him listed as a tight end, defensive end. How big of a part of this team is he going to be this year?
Well, he's going to be our workhorse. He's our best player on the team, and, we're going to put the ball in his hand on offense, in a bunch of different ways. We're going to split them out, split in. We're going to line them up at tight end. We may even line him up at the slot a little bit. But he's gonna be our workhorse on offense and defense. He's going to carry us because he's definitely our best player by far. And he's worked hard to put himself in a position to carry the team. He's worked hard all summer in the weight room. He's been in numerous camps. He's getting his weight up and he's getting his speed down, and he's excited and he's enthusiastic. He's been a leader. So we're really relying on Hashawn to come in this year and really be the catalyst of the team and lead us to some victories.
Coach, you're kind of your main guy offensively last year. Khalil Macklin, a guy who, hey, I mean, that's a name that's been on the tongues of everybody in Nash County for 4 years. Khalil has moved on to the next level. What's your situation at quarterback looking like?
Quarterback, we still hadn't decided with quarterback yet. We got DeMarco Brown. He started the last game for us against Southern Nash and gave us a spark. So we're like, okay, well, DeMarco, is your position, to lose. And but we got some young guys, some sophomores that are really, really talented, and they're pushing DeMarco. But I think DeMarco is going to probably win out the position in the end. But those young guys are coming on. They're coming on strong. We're going to be young again this year in all our positions, and that's a good thing and a bad thing. But guys like DeMarco, Hashawn, the few seniors that we have, those guys are strong enough to lead us.
Coach, what we're doing, we're kind of highlighting what we call your big three games of the year. Now, obviously, every game on everybody's schedule, that's all that matters that week. But we've taken one non-conference games and two conference games kind of that we're showcasing. You guys, for, I believe, third straight year, Ed? You guys are going to be kicking off the Friday night football coverage.
Okay.
You in Tarboro, that's where we go. When it's Tarboro Nash Central, that's where we go. You guys heading over to Tarboro this year.
Yes.
That's your first highlight game.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's the one that you're planning for right now. So
yes.
What are we looking at going to Tarboro?
Well, we're looking at, we wanted to start the season off right. Coach Craddock and I talked at the coaches clinic this past week, and, we talked about our teams, and, we are both excited about the game. We're both kind of in similar situations, whereas that, we kind of don't know what we're going to have. The first game is going to be a little bit, we're going to see where we're at. But I feel good about, our, team going into Tarboro. It's going to be a very tough game. It's going to be a very exciting game. But, I think that if we do everything we're supposed to do, we'll be in good shape at the end of the game.
Coach, you kick off conference season on the 10th of October, home game against Rocky Mount. A game that last year you guys were in all the way to the end over at Rocky Mount. Now you come back, as you say, a year older, a little bigger, a little stronger, a little faster, hopefully. Kicking off conference, how big a game is that for you?
That is a huge game because our conference is so evenly matched that whoever wins that first conference game, they put themselves in the driver's seat as far as the conference standings and playoff standings and those things like that. If you lose that first conference game, then you're kind of behind the 8 ball because, it's real hard to, win games in our conference. There's every week is a, tough game. So that first game is very, very important because it builds momentum. And 3 wins in our conference gets you in the playoffs.
Absolutely.
So that's one of our goals is to get that playoff bid and see what we can do in the postseason.
Coach, this year for the I call it the Old Carriage Road rivalry. You guys head down Old Carriage out here. You head to Northern Nash. That's going to be game 3 of your conference season. That's going to be a big one for you.
Huge game because those kids, Northern, my kids, a lot of them play together in rec league, and some of them play together in middle school because we both get kids from Red Oak Middle and Elwoods and all over the place, and so they know each other real well. But it's gonna be a gauge point for us to see where we at, how far along we have came, and that's a game that we have to win in order if we want to make the playoffs. And it's really no other way to put it. That's a must win for us, the Northern game.
Well, Coach, we definitely thank you for hopping on with us today here on the All New Sports Show. Looking forward to seeing the Bulldogs take a step forward this season.
Yeah.
And we look forward to seeing you guys on Friday nights and talking about you on Sundays.
All right. Thank you for coming, and I guarantee you we will look a lot better than we looked last year because the kids have been putting the work in. They've been working hard, and we've decided we've made some changes so that we can, score some more points. And, defense has been working hard. We got 9 starters back on both sides of the ball. So we were an exciting team to watch last year. We're going to be another exciting team to watch again this year.
Sounds good.
All right.
Kevin Crudup, head coach of the Nash Central Bulldogs. Let's kick this one back to the studio.
All right. Good interview.
Big thanks, Coach Crudup, for sitting down with us, doing what we do.
Or standing up, as the case may be.
Where works for you, Ed?
Or you.
Okay. Jesse, final thoughts on Nash Central?
Well, if you want wins, I'm not really sure how many they can scratch out. 2 would be good, to be honest, just with that schedule and what we talked about with just the offense that we're unsure of. Not that they can't improve, but it's just too many variables. And when you're learning, to be a good offense against that schedule, Coach Crudup might see improvement on the tape, but you might not see any victories come out of that. So I'm not too optimistic, but maybe their offense, the juniors on their offense, and I believe they do have a big junior class throughout the team, can build something for what's going to be possibly a much better senior year.
Yeah, only 2 years removed from going 9-3 and losing in the second round of the playoffs, and maybe the game of the century to Hunt, which we were at that game was just mind-blowingly good. So hopefully that's true. From a neutral standpoint, it was mind-blowingly good. So just 2 years removed from that, I think that's going to be the key. Is not so much wins this year, but improvement. If they can stay in games, if they can put together something good, even if the wins aren't there, I think that you'll see a greater improvement their senior year. If they don't, we could be looking at some changes at Nash Central, I think, at the end of the year.
Non-conference, I think they have a chance to get a couple of wins non-conference. I'm really looking just later this week at Tarboro.
Yeah.
I think that could be a win for them. I think they could go into Tarboro, get a win. And my biggest thing really is it's a kind of a reloading Tarboro, but they've got kids who have not been through the battles yet. That could be one. Kinston, I don't know exactly what Kinston has this year. Kinston was somewhat on a downslide last year. With Kinston, it's always about the coaching. Kinston's got players. It's always about the coaching there. Hertford County's kind of on a downslide at the moment. I could legitimately see Nash Central come out of non-conference with 3 wins, which would, as we said, be major improvement over last year. Still don't think they're anywhere near the level of a Rose or a Hillside, and I just think Bedingfield's going to be really good this year. Conference play, I'm going to go down. I'm going down on tape.
Oh, God. Going down might be the best.
Yeah, I'm going down here, definitely.
In flames, possibly.
In flames, completely. I still think Nash Central is going to bring up the bottom of the Big East. They're going to knock off a big boy somewhere. Okay. Be it Hunt, Fight, Northern, or Rocky Mount, they're going to surprise somebody. Rocky Mount, that October 10th game. Hey, I just told you folks the last segment. Rocky Mount's my dark horse to finish second. Rocky Mount better have it ready on October 10th when they go to Nash Central.
10-3 game last
year. The Bulldogs are going to be absolutely fired up, and that may be their best chance to get one of those. But I think they're going to shock somebody this year. So I see a definite improvement. They will have an improvement on the record. Don't think it's going to be enough to get them in the playoffs by any means, but I do think you're going to see a lot of improvement at Nash Central this season. All right, so that will end our coverage for the Bulldogs.
Yes.
And now, folks, we will take you to the 12th and final preview of 2014 here on the All New Sports Show. The best local high school sports you will get in Nash, Edgecombe, or Wilson County.
Absolutely. On TV.
I mean, without a doubt, 100%. No one touches us.
Not even close.
In Nash, Edgecombe, or
It's
Wilson
really
County
not even close.
on television. Northern Nash going to be our final team we're going to take a look at. Northern Nash, of course, head coach Randy Raper in his second season after a sterling career at Wilson Hunt. That's going to Northern Nash. The Knights bring back 8 offensive starters, 4 defensive starters off a team that went 4-7 a year ago, 1-4 in the conference. And I think this is a year where year 2 under Randy Raper, I think we're going to see some real improvement out of the Knights. I think you're going to get what we talked about earlier, that physical football. That's what Randy Raper likes to play. He wants to line them and punch you in the mouth, and I think he's finally getting some kids who are buying into that philosophy. That's what's been missing from Northern for so long. Now, they've had a couple of good teams here and there, Jesse, and you know it, where they've had those hard-nosed defenses. They've had a Trayvon Marshall. They've had kids like that out there. But real true physicality on both sides of the football, if Northern Nash can get that back, especially under Randy Raper, I think it's a team that can show some definite improvement this year.
Yeah, I think he's a coach that, you know, he's a long haul coach. Obviously, you know, the time that he spent at Hunt, you know, showed that. But he's trying to build kids. I'm sure he's looking at 9th graders right now that, you know, he's like, I'm going to be here when you're on varsity in 2 or 3 years, and I want to see this kid develop from a 6'2", 160-pound kid to, you know, 6'3", 6'4", 200 pounds, somebody that he can build a line with or make into a athlete who can catch the ball or whatever. But it's going to take some time, you know, and I think they understand what they need to play for him now, and we'll see how that translates, you know, on the field. I think last year was just a complete learning curve, and maybe we'll see a little bit more confidence with what kids are doing out there under him.
I think one of the big things you talk about learning, I think it's just about learning to win. You look at their first game last year, a 32-26 loss at Corinth Holders, a game where they actually had the lead late and let that one slip away in overtime, I believe. A 14-7 loss at home against Hunt in the what is sure to be a rivalry game for years to come now for reasons. A 1-point loss at Southern Nash. You know, a fight game that was pretty close for a while ended up being 29-12. You know, these are games that you'd like to see them turning around some of those into wins in year 2, and I think that's what you're talking about, learning how to win and learning what Coach Raper expects from them. And I think those are the kinds of games you can expect to see them win, which is why I think they're going to finish above 500 this year. Their numbers are better, as he also mentioned, even though they had some big injuries already. But I feel like this is going to be a jump year for Northern. Maybe not even top 3 in the conference, but this is going to be a significantly better team overall.
Here's what I like to start Northern Nash: returning quarterback. Returning all-conference quarterback in Jacob Green. You know, we saw Jacob Green a lot on the baseball field over the spring. Kid's a good athlete, has a good arm. And that's what Randy Raper is not going to ask his quarterback to throw the football 35, 40 times a game. He's never going to do it. But it's not one of those, you know, complete ground and pound offenses. As the quarterback for Randy Raper football team, you do have responsibilities. You do throw the football some. It's just, it's not that pretty spread, short passing game. He's going to throw it down the field. They're going to look for the big home run plays. They're going to throw a little bit underneath, trying to make some plays in space. And in Jacob Green, I think you've got a smart kid, B, you've got a talented kid who can make some of those things happen.
Yeah, I think they're going to be really, really good this year. I think, you know, if you want to, we can actually do our predictions, because we know you're still looking at previews. But you and I can do predictions of the Big East this year.
And we're going to have our Big East, I guess, after we finish with Northern, we'll do all our predictions for all of our conferences that we're looking at.
And I'll go ahead and say my prediction for Northern might surprise a few people.
Okay.
So, but I think it's going to be a fun year, and you actually also have the chance to go down to Death Valley and speak with Coach Raper.
That's right. Always good to talk to Coach Raper, whether it be his years at Hunt or now at Northern Nash. Always been very accommodating, very nice to us. And of course, it's like we joke with him and Jeff Craddock. Yeah, when you win every time we're here, it's nice to see us, isn't it? You love to talk to us when it means you've won a football game.
Yeah.
So, we've talked to him a lot over the years, and I did have the chance to stand outside the field house, have a talk with him, and those good old Northern Nash County Nats.
Oh, those are fun. See if you can count how many you see in the video.
I'd love to make their way there. But let's take it out there now for our interview with Northern Nash coach Randy Raper. And folks, we welcome you to Death Valley, the campus of Northern Nash High School, joined by Northern Nash head football coach Randy Raper. Folks, still a little weird to say that sometimes, but he begins year 2 of his tenure here at Northern Nash. The Knights coming off a 4-7 overall season, a 1-4 conference mark, but a lot of improvement seen last fall here at Northern Nash Nation. Coach, thank you so much for taking some time with us here on the All New Sports Show.
No problem. I always appreciate talking to you guys.
All right. Well, Coach, coming back this year, let's just go down the numbers real quick. You got 8 returning offensive starters, 4 on defense. You lost some really big names, some guys who have been hallmarks of the Northern Nash program for a long time, but you're bringing back some talent.
Yeah, we've got some kids that have worked really hard since season ended last year. The good thing for us is we've got the majority of our offensive line back. We have our quarterback back. We lost some receivers that we had, but we're really have some good kids that we're replacing those right now. And the biggest loss for us was on the defensive side. We've got 4 kids I think coming back, and a lot of holes to fill on that side of the football.
Coach, one player that you are going to be without this year, a guy who seemingly last year, wherever you needed him to go and pick up the ball and do something, was Kendrick Richardson. The guy did it offensively, did it defensively, took snaps at quarterback, played running back. Can you, with one guy, can you replace that kid?
No, you can't replace that. You just got to hope those kids that are coming in right now, that have been working, understand that that phase of the game is gone. Mm-hmm. We don't have another Kendrick Richardson here, and everybody's got to elevate their play and their skill levels, and that's something that we've worked on all year.
Coach, you talk about bringing back a good quarterback this year, Jacob Green, who potential to be an all-conference selection this year. Good size kid, about 6'2", 190. What are you going to be asking Jacob to do for you this fall?
We just want Jacob to lead that football team. We don't ask him to win any ball games. Just do what you're asked to do. Mm-hmm. Do your job and do it very hard and do it very well, and be a leader out there. Be that quarterback that leads that offensive group and sets the tone.
Coach, something we're doing, we're kind of going down. We're picking what we think maybe are 3 games that kind of jump out to us on your schedule this year. For you guys, non-conference, I believe game 2 of the year, or actually game 3 at this point, you're going to be right here against Tarboro. The last few years, that has been an absolutely fantastic football game. 2 years ago, Northern Nash went to Tarboro. Maybe it was a year. I got to get my dates right, folks. I'm bad with these things sometimes. Well, actually, when Todd Gurley was there, a 14-12 Tarboro win. The next year they came, I believe, had the shootout over here that ended late in a Tarboro win. And last year, you guys in Tarboro engaged in another great battle. This year, Tarboro, they've lost some of their top guys. You've got good guys coming back. For you, to us, that just jumps off the page as a big non-conference game.
Well, Tarboro is one of those schools that each year you say, well, man, maybe they're going to be down. They just reload. It's sort of like Hunt in the aspect, year to year we always graduated 20 to 25 seniors, but then we had a good crop coming in. So Tarboro falls in that same line. So, I'm not expecting anything other than a great ball game, and hey, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a great battle.
Coach, when we take a look into your conference schedule now, obviously the first one to jump off at everybody, your opening conference game at Hunt, and not so much for the ramifications of Randy Raper goes back to Hunt. But, Coach, this year with your team, if you can go to Hunt and get a win, the way your schedule breaks down, your next 2 games at home after that, you could be going maybe into the end of October with a chance at the conference championship.
Well, every year you go into the conference, that first game is big. You want to get that win that first game. If you do that, everybody else that happens to lose that week, they're behind. So, that's a quick jump start in the conference. And, we played them tough last year, had an opportunity to tie it and possibly win it, but there again, Hunt's just going to reload, and we're going to go over to their place, and our guys are looking forward to it. We're just looking forward to this season in general. I think our kids have they want to see all this hard work we put in, see if it pays off, and hopefully it will.
And then, Coach, October 31st, Halloween night, a chance to go to Fike in what a lot of people are calling maybe Tom Nelson's best Fike team thus far.
No doubt. You know, this is a big year for Tom and his crew. You know, they did a super job last year. He's done a wonderful job there at that school. And there again, it's one of those battles that you hope you're playing for a purpose at that time.
Coach, we thank you so much for hopping on with us today, and we as well as all the fans out there, especially here in Nash County, everybody looking forward to see what year 2 here at Northern Nash brings for you and you gentlemen. Just between us, I think you've done a fantastic job here so far. The spirits are high. The enthusiasm is definitely here at Northern Nash, and Coach, we're looking for a great year from you.
That's what the plan is. You know, there again, good coaching staff. Got some good kids, great kids. Got a lot of support here from Northern Nash, and we're looking forward toward a good season. So
it's great.
We'll see.
Head Coach Randy Raper, Northern Nash Knights. We're going to kick it back to the studio now.
All right, it's a good interview.
Absolutely. How many gnats did you count?
I counted 832.
I was at 847, but that was just around my head. So
That's true.
I wasn't counting Coach Raper's anyway. Good stuff from, you know, the one thing near the end of the interview, you hated to hear injury already hitting them. Rock Langley, a big sophomore they've got, kid they're really high on tight end defensive end, 6'3", 210 pounds, runs about a 4.6.
He was at the Duke camp. You know he's already getting scouted there too, which is great.
Big time player for them that they are going to be missing this year. But for Northern Nash, like I said, they're going to have to play physical football. They're not going to be a wide open shoot 'em out team. Where Rocky Mount might be your shootout team, Northern Nash is going to be your, field position, play good defense, make some plays kind of team. And Jesse, just kind of the swing for the Knights right now. You know, no one has had a roller coaster ride over the last decade like Northern Nash, where literally a decade ago, or just over a decade ago, they played for a state championship, and then I think they've had 2 or 3 0-win seasons since then. But then they've won a conference championship and had a 10-win season in the middle of it as well.
Yes.
You know, this is a program that sometimes you just never know what to expect from Northern. But I think right now with Randy Raper, I think they have a solid to very good coach in place who, you know, he is a process guy. He is not a quick fix. He is not overnight. And I'm going to say this, you know, because I have some Northern Nash friends, obviously. Northern Nash saw after B.W. Holt came in and what he immediately did at Rocky Mount, it seemed like overnight Rocky Mount just turned around. That wasn't really the case. That was a Rocky Mount team that had been building to start with. Well, then I think Northern Nash, their next couple of hires, they expected immediately it was going to turn around for them. And the problem is the groundwork had not been laid yet. The weight room work had not been laid. The groundwork wasn't there. And therefore, things might have looked up, but then they quickly fell down. It's kind of like attuned to, they say, don't build your house on sand. I think right now they finally have that good, firm bedrock they need with Randy Raper. Another thing that's going to be interesting, how long is Randy Raper going to decide to stay at Northern Nash? But I think right now, I think that is a program that is finally after about a decade being built the right way.
Yeah, if he stays, which I don't see any reason why he wouldn't right now, you know what you're going to get when you play Northern Nash.
Right.
It's not going to be an easy game. You're not going to roll over them unless they happen to fumble the ball 6 times or something to give you the game. You're going to have to be physical, and they're going to be well coached. So I think when you have those basics, you're going to have a good program and going to have a good team every week. And eventually those victories are going to come because he just has proven that he doesn't have bad teams.
He's a winner.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a winner. I mean, even like Ed said last year, 4-7, 1-4 in the conference, not a pretty record. But
twice as many wins as the last 2 years before him.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely showed a jump on the field. And now you got a lot of good kids in year 2 coming up for them. Ed, what you got to add on Northern?
I think that they have a pretty tough schedule, but it's not the most tough schedule ever. Obviously, they do get Tarboro in there. They get Corinth Holders at home. They also start with 4 straight home games to begin the year. They get their road games and home games broken up decently well in conference play. So I think the schedule, while last year was a bit of a death march to start with 4 straight road games, This year, I think the schedule breaks pretty favorably for them, too.
Let's take a look at that schedule. August 22nd, they kick it off hosting Corinth Holders. And for those Northern kids, that's going to be a get-back game.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because they thought they should have won that game last year, lost it right at the end. Northeastern, a good Northeastern team last year, a team that just laid the hammer on Northern Nash. They're coming to Death Valley this year. I think if they don't turn that one around, that's going to be a lot closer. Tarboro coming September 5th. I think at this point you're getting Tarboro at the right time.
Yeah.
I think Tarboro's got some growing to do. They will be fine once they hit conference. Tarboro could have some trouble in non-conference play this year, though. And going to Northern Nash on September 5th, whew, buddy, that's not going to be an easy one for the Vikings. Warren County coming September 12th. That was a win for them a year ago. I figure it's going to be a win again this year. At Southern Mance, at Smithfield Selma. Those are two games. Good chance Northern Nash can win. They won those two last year as well. October 3rd, they've got an open date.
Yeah, and so they could come out of there with maybe 4 or 5 wins out of their non-con schedule, go in with a lot of good feelings and momentum into that October 10th match to start the conference play at Hunt, and a big game there. October 17th, they come back home for 2 straight, host Southern Nash, host Nash Central. I think those are 2 winnable games. And then end the year at Fike, at Rocky Mount on November 7th. We already said that game, November 7th, is going to be huge. Who knows if they're at 2 or 3 wins by the time they get to Fike, that October 31st game could also be big for both teams in terms of actually maybe placing in the conference or even for Fike winning the conference.
And then, of course, at Rocky Mount, November 7th. We talked about earlier in the Rocky Mount preview. Not a lot more to add to it. If they're both 0-10, it's a massive football game just because they hate each other. But if you put in what we believe you will, which is going to be playoff caliber football, and that'll be nice because, Jesse, you know this. That's something. It seems there always seems to be a trend. If Rocky Mount's up, Northern's down. Northern's up, Rocky Mount's down. I think this year we're finally going to get to see 2 good teams playing football against each other. And when that does happen, man, those are really some fun football games. Really some fun football games. All right, folks, so that is going to finish our Northern Nash preview. So with that, folks, all 12 teams in our area, Nash, Edgecombe, Wilson County, have been done. We did it. We got 12 coaches interviews this year. No kitty cats playing with yarn needed. No 60-minute style interviews needed with it. All right, so folks, so let's take a look at a few things. Now, of course, NC Preps we're using kind of as our sister site. That didn't sound right at all, did it?
No, it didn't.
All righty then.
Anyway.
All right, take a look at it, folks. Basically what I meant by that, the North Carolina Preps Prep Football Preview Yearbook 2014. Nice. Thank you. We're running a lot of things out of here, and this is kind of what we're doing our comparisons to, okay? So taking a look real quick, 1A, 2A, 3A, that's all we're going to look at because we don't have any 4A teams in our area anyhow. We might throw one in there just in a moment for, not even in there. Don't worry about 4A. Okay. 1A preseason, this is the top 13 that NC Press does. They have Tarboro as the number 4 ranked 1A team in the state. I think they could be. I don't think that record's going to reflect it maybe after September's over.
Yeah.
So, you know.
That's off reputation, probably.
Yes, that's off reputation. But once again, tough non-conference. Once they get to conference, Tarboro's going to be fine.
Yeah.
In the 2A ranks, real quick. Okay, we have no 2As in there. No 2As in the top 13.
But we do have some 3As.
We do have some 3As. Take a quick look. Well, we have a 3A. Hunt!
I thought we had 2.
No,
we don't have 2. I thought we had 2.
Here's the deal. Hunt is in the preseason top 13, yet NC Preps predicts Fike to win the conference.
Anyway,
okay.
But you speak about that. They predicted it. What are our predictions?
Well, let's say, and we'll go side by side with what we've got here. 2 Rivers Conference. Let's go 2 Rivers 1A.
All right.
Their prediction: Tarboro 1, Riverside Martin 2, Northampton 3, North Edgecombe 4, South Creek 5, Rocky Mount Prep 6. Player of the Year: Antoine Pittman, North Edgecombe. I'm not really going to go too different on that. That was a little different than how they ended a season ago.
Just barely.
Just at the bottom of the conference. I think Tarboro is the class of the conference. Riverside Martin, that's Williamston, folks. If you remember Williamston High School, that's basically Williamston with a little extra. Northampton is Northampton East and West combined. Those two are going to slug it out for second. I think North Edgecombe is a clear number 4 team in this conference. If some things break the right way for the Warriors, they might slide into that 3 spot. South Creek, Rocky Mount Prep. South Creek, both of them with new coaches, as we said. One of them in our area. The other one, Jeremy Jones, left to come to Nash Central. So there are some differences there. I'm just out of the heck of it. I'm going to put Prep at 5th.
Okay. I'm going to take Tarboro 1. I'm going to take Riverside Martin 2. I'm going to take North Edgecombe 3. I'm going to take Northampton 4. I'm going to take South Creek 5. And I'm going to put Prep 6.
Okay. All right, so there's our 1A predictions.
Eastern Plains now.
Now for the Eastern Plains. Here we go. NC Preps has predicted Washington 1, Beddingfield 2, Farmville Central 3, Southwest Edgecombe 4, North Pitt 5, North Johnston 6. Player of the Year, running back Markel Spencer from Washington.
So you mean they're the standings from last year is what they...
Yeah, I guess so.
It's easy. Yeah. It's an easy game.
I'm not going to go through everybody on this. I don't know quite everybody. But I'm going to say this. I'm going to pick Beddingfield to win the conference. Mm-hmm. And I'm picking Southwest Edgecombe second. Call me crazy. Washington, a big senior class last year, they were good. And the big thing, Washington, they were dropping down from 3A to 2A. You know, we've seen teams when they drop, you've got that little extra power punch. But they lost a lot of seniors.
Yes.
Beddingfield, I think it's the best Beddingfield team since 05 when they had Bennett Johnson and lost to Rocky Mount in the third round of the 3A playoffs. Very good football team. Tom Nelson coaches that team. I think this is the best team they've had since then. I think Beddingfield can win that conference. Southwest Edgecombe, they are ready to bust out. I think they're your number 2. The rest of them, I don't care about the rest of them. I'm not worried about them.
I think Beddingfield's going to win too. I also think Southwest is going to finish 3rd. Okay. I think Washington is still very good. I look for them to finish 2nd. But also, there's a lot of good teams in this conference with Farmville Central and North Johnston also looking to make a jump up. So, but I agree with you. I do think Beddingfield's going to win the conference this year.
Okay. Into the 3A now, our Big East Conference.
The Beast.
Right here.
Beast Coast.
This year's predicted Big East finish, Fike 1, Hunt 2, Rocky Mount 3, Southern 4, Northern 5, Nash Central 6. So once again, from 2013, just a little switch there. Personally, folks, I've got some issues with that.
Yes, you do.
Not a lot of them, but here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking Fike's going to win it. Fike is the class of this conference. I mean, we just got to say it. With the weapons they've got, they're going to be able to do things that other teams can't do. I'm picking Rocky Mount to finish 2nd, which is knocking Hunt not only from winning the conference, that's knocking Hunt all the way down to number 3, where they haven't finished since the Big East started. Rocky Mount, my dark horse, finished 2nd. I'm going to go with Hunt at 3. I'm going to go with Northern Nash at 4. I think the Knights are going to be very good. I think it's a 2-conference win season for the Knights. But they are going to put the fear of God into some of these teams ahead of them. Them and Rocky Mount last day of the season. Whew, buddy.
It's going to be fun.
Just, bring your ice packs just to sit in the stands for that game. I'm picking Southern Nash 5th. I'm picking Nash Central 6th. Just can't get on Central quite putting it all together yet. And for Southern, I think there's just a little down this year talent-wise. That said, I could see a Central-Southern flip down at the bottom.
I'm going to take Fike 1. I'm going to take Hunt 2. I still think they're just too good. Rocky Mount 3rd, Northern 4th, and I think that the last game of the year is actually going to decide 3rd place. I think Rocky Mount wins that one. I'm going to take Southern 5th, and I'm going to take Central 6th as well. And
we can give them a Big East Player of the Year.
Sure.
Anthony Evans, picked by NC Preps. Not a bad place to go. I'm going to be boring, and I'm going to go with him. Anthony Evans. I think it's his to lose.
There's a couple guys from Southern Nash that I think if they were going to have a better year, I think you could take reasonably. I'm going to go with Anthony Evans, too. Okay. I'm just going to be stupid and boring. Josh Carter, though. I say Josh Carter.
Oh, yeah.
He's Rocky Mount's your dark horse team.
There you go.
Josh Carter, dark horse player of the year.
There you go. And Rocky Mount Academy not in a conference. I'm picking the repeat.
Sure. Why not?
They are loaded. I'm telling you guys, they are loaded. They've played some preseason games actually against 11-man teams, some small 1A schools.
Yes, they
They've played 11 on offense and gone 8-man on defense, and their offense has been fantastic from what I've heard.
Yeah, they played really good against Princeton.
Yes, I think who only has maybe the best running back in the South, Johnny Frazier. I think Rocky Mount Academy is going to win it all again this year. They're going to be good. They're going to be very good. All right, so there's our picks. Jesse, Telegram, I know you guys are still working your previews. I guess should we just look Friday morning for the big day one preview?
Yeah, we got previews running through Thursday, and then the big preview on Friday, and then just pretty consistent coverage throughout the year. So we'll make our wrong predictions every Friday.
It can't be more wrong than ours.
Who have I given the? Did I kiss a death Rocky Mountain apparently this
you
year?
did. Yeah, that's who you did.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
No,
and Josh Carter's going to blow out his ACL because I picked him to be a dark horse player of the year candidate.
You guys know I love you. I mean, I write my very small alumni check every year for the post. We'll stop now. All right, Ed. That takes care of that.
That's
man.
our preseason.
We've done preseason. Just like the guys on the field, it was long. It had some good moments, had some tough moments. I got pretty sweaty doing it.
Yes. We had a lot of problems at the start.
That's right. Had a lot of kinks to iron out.
Yeah. Or tape up, as the case may be.
There you go. But, folks, we have made it through, and we are ready for high school football.
Yes.
And it kicks off Friday night. The high school game of the week will be heading to Tarboro.
Yes.
We will be seeing Nash Central and the Tarboro Vikings.
It's going to be fun. That's going to air on Saturday, I believe, at 2 o'clock. And then Sunday night, we'll be right back here. We'll be breaking down that game. We'll, of course, be talking to our guys at the Telegram. We'll be talking to our guys at the Wilson Times, getting caught up on that, and bringing you all the scores from our area. It is going to be so much fun. This year, more than any other year, is going to be so great, I think.
That's right, folks. And, of course, it's the All New Sports Show. It's Season 3.
Yes.
Season of Serious.
Season of Serious.
Seriously.
Seriously.
Season of Serious. So we're going to be really serious on Sunday nights, and we're going to talk some football. Of course, next week, I believe, the return of Bishop's Corner.
Yes.
We're going to get Bishop's
We'll
Corner.
bring that back next week.
And I believe we'll have our preview for Wesleyan. Coach Phil Kotsky will be able to drop that in there next week. So look for that.
I think that's it.
We're going to keep you highlighted around the state. Ed, put us over one more time, social medially.
Facebook.com/The All News Sports Show, Twitter.com/All News Sports Show, Instagram.com/All News Sports Show, YouTube.com/The All News Sports Show. Email us allnewsportshow@gmail.com. The mailing address for your fan mail is 1701 Sunset Avenue, Suite 201, Rocky Mount, North Carolina, 27804. Your personal Twitter?
I'm at Wes Bradshaw 21.
Jess, any?
At Jesse H. Nunnery, Nunery. All
right, at Edward Green, EDWARD, GREENE. That does it.
All right. No, this is a new shirt. I'm not going to rip it off to show my shoulder pads underneath.
This is Italian. I ain't ripping this.
It's Italian. All right, folks, that's going to do it for us tonight. Also returning soon, the Todd Gurley update.
Yes.
College football, I believe, starts in less than 2 weeks. That's awesome. Next week, we'll have you some college football picks. Don't forget, listen to the podcast.
Yes, All News Sports Show, the podcast. Go to podbean.com or iTunes and search All News Sports Show, the podcast.
That's right, and look for it on Thursdays now because we are a Wednesday night taping show now.
Not to date these podcasts.
Not to date these podcasts at all. Catch your Premier League matches.
Yes, go out to a pub.
Go watch Northern Nash. They're going to be good this year in soccer. So there's our high school soccer preview. Northern's going to be good. I know that just from Facebook. Yeah. So anyway, all right. Jesse, once again, thanks so much for hopping on with us.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Look forward to talking to you and your new colleagues as the season goes on.
Yeah, anytime.
All right. Big thanks to Paul Durham for helping us out last week. Jimmy Lewis with a couple of his drop-in comments to Paul so Paul wouldn't screw everything up. It's just going to be fun. 2014. It is officially here, and you're going to catch it each and every week right here on the All New Sports Show, brought to you by Roger G. Taylor and Associates here on WHIG TV. Good night, America. We'll see you next week. And for Ed, good night, Canada. War Pig.
Oh, dominate.
Dogs coming on a blitz. A nice pickup. Green gets rid of it and caught on the deflection. Put 6 on the board, Knight fans. That is a touchdown.
And it is caught by number 20, Malik Williams. And he breaks free. He's going. One man to beat. It's a touchdown.